Welcome, everybody. I'm Erin Johnson, the founder of Outstanding Ohio and Realtor with eXp Realty. And this event is in response to last month's Outstanding Ohio Business Networking event, where we asked everyone what they needed help with. And a lot of people said they needed help with social media marketing and specifically mentioned LinkedIn, like not knowing how to use LinkedIn or what they should be doing on LinkedIn. So we put together this kind of workshop in response to that. We have 3 panelists that have volunteered their time graciously and their talents to share with you some insights into 3 of the major platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So we're not covering all of social media, but decided today in an hour to focus on those 3. And this session is being recorded. We are going to be doing breakout rooms though, so it's only going to record the room that I'm in. But for anyone that's missed it, or if you want the recording, we can get that to you. I do have everyone that registered. I have your contact information, and I can share that out with the group if you guys are interested in networking with each other offline. If you did not register, if you want to put your information in the chat or email it to me at erin@outstandingohio.com, I can add that to the list. And if you haven't already, if you could rename yourself and add the name of your company or your business to your name, as you see with mine, for example, you can just right click on where your name is and select rename. Oops, I just moved myself. And let's see, anything else? So that's the setup here. So we're going to start. I'm going to introduce the 3 panelists, and they're going to talk a little bit high level about the platform that they're speaking on today, what kind of audience you can reach on that platform, and what kind of businesses are best suited to market on that platform. And then we will open up the breakout rooms, and you can choose which breakout room you want to go into, whether you want to do the Facebook, the Instagram, or the LinkedIn. And the panelists will give a short presentation, like 15-20 minutes, and then there'll be time in the breakout room for questions. And then at the end, we'll come back to the main room for any feedback. Would love to, since there's a lot of people, there won't be a lot of time for discussion, but maybe you can be thinking about what your takeaways are, any feedback, and you can put that into the chat at the end so that we can capture that. And then we can share some upcoming events and if there's any other feedback on how this format worked and so forth, so we know for next time. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to introduce first Day Armelli. Day is the owner of Coalesce Marketing Group, which specializes in traditional and digital marketing strategies and services. And she's going to share her expertise today and as it relates to Facebook. Welcome.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you. So Facebook is a business to consumer platform for the most part for businesses. It's an older demographic. So for businesses that are trying to reach predominantly women and 40 up, it's a great platform. And don't discount it even for B2B, because obviously there's business owners that are using it for personal, social gain. But it's an interesting beast, and it's got a lot of moving parts, and they don't make it easy. And so, if you get frustrated with it, I get frustrated with them sometimes, because they take you down these rabbit holes and you can't get out of them. So we'll talk a lot about Facebook and its algorithms and idiosyncrasies, and see if we can help you at least understand and make a plan to use that platform if it fits your business.
Great, thanks, Day. And then next up, we have Tiffany Lewis, who's the owner of More Meaningful Marketing, specializing in digital marketing, advertising, and personal brand consulting. And Tiffany's going to talk today about Instagram.
Thank you, Erin, so much for inviting me and for hosting your awesome Facebook group. I so enjoy seeing the growth in just everything that you're offering. Today, I'm going to be talking about Instagram. And Instagram is really a quantity, I would say, over quality platform, reaching both B2C and B2B. Last year, there were about 25 million users and about $7 billion in advertising. So I know that a lot of brands and companies are there, but I would caution a little bit about finding the right platform, jumping into a room for the platform that maybe most interests you, but then also just thinking about your business model and what may be best suited for your personal brand, for your professional brand. And so I find Instagram to be a super visual platform, a mix of show and tell, longer stories, a mix, you know, you have the tiles there, so you can tell any story you really want to. And then also obviously using hashtags to boost algorithms to find and target your ideal clients. But I do think that probably more than anything for any platform is just knowing who your audience is.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany. And
Sure.
Let's see, where did I put her last? We have Dumont Owen, who is a master personal brand strategist and LinkedIn strategist and trainer. That's a mouthful.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for inviting me to speak, Erin. When you think about LinkedIn, the first question I always get is LinkedIn right for me? And if you're B2B, LinkedIn, you have to be there. You know, it's the business platform. But if you're B2C, you know, in a lot of cases, you're going to want to be there too. And people on LinkedIn are also on Facebook. Something like 95% of the people who are on LinkedIn are also on Facebook. So you don't have to make a total choice there. But 80% of B2B leads, that's 4 out of every 5 leads, come from LinkedIn. Okay, when you're talking social media. So that's a huge number. And it's somewhere about 60%, or I can't remember with B2C, it kind of depends on what your B2C is. And LinkedIn offers very high quality leads. 4 out of 5 members are key decision makers, meaning that they make the decision on when to buy. LinkedIn users have 2 times the buying power of those on other platforms. So not only can they learn about your services, they can pay for them. They have enough money to pay for them. And then finally, their conversion rate from members to customers or clients is 3 times higher than any of the other ad platforms. So, you know, if you're in B2B, this is definitely where you have to be. The others, you know, it kind of depends. That's the best answer I can give.
There's a lot of it depends, yes. And it's certainly, you know, I think depending on picking the platform, being consistent with it and making it work for you, there's probably a way to make platforms work for you, but you just have to figure out the right.
And I second the notion that you have to know your niche.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of your strategy.
For sure. All right, great. So we are going to go ahead and open up the rooms here.
Step. That's where they know they have the problem, they've identified it, and they're looking for answers. They want to find a solution. So 60% of people want to talk with you at that stage. And then 20% of people want to talk to you in this decision stage, which is where they actually make the decision. So through these 3 stages, you know, most people, when they're marketing, they connect with people at the decision stage. They target people at that stage. Well, that's like your dentist targeting you, but you're not there yet. You know, you want to talk to them before they get to that decision stage. So, you know, if you talk to them through awareness and consideration, then 79% of them already want to talk to you. By the time the decision comes up, they're already there. You know, they are 80% sold on you. So you really want to take into account the entire buyer's journey. Now, what I'm going to show you here.
Dumont, can you put it in presentation mode?
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Oh, sorry, but I did have it. Hold on.
Oh, I know. Maybe it'll make it bigger.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Can you now see it?
I do like seeing it.
Okay.
Nothing changed on my end. Did it change?
I've got it on presentation mode.
I can see your other slides to the left and then.
Okay, that's because I was just going to click on that one. This is the one I want you to be on. Can you see it? Or is it still on?
Yeah.
The buyer's journey is big on
I
mine.
usually live stream, and apparently it switched monitors from what I normally have. So I'm going to do.
I might be seeing what you're seeing. Is that what you see? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. But anyway, let's get to the model, because that's the key piece. So what I want you to take away from this session is that there's a strategy behind all of this. And that strategy works particularly well if you are in the coaching, consulting, or professional services models, but it can work in other industries too. So there are 4 stages to this model. The first stage is strategy. And strategy, your strategy comes out of what your business goals are, where you are in your business, who your niche is, how clear you are about that, and how much you can target them. And then finally, your personal brand. And by that, I mean, what do you stand for? Who are you? What are your values, your passions, your quirks? Your quirks are part of your brand. Your brand makes you stand out from everybody else on there. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a master brand specialist. I'm saying that because it's true. So this is the first stage, and it's the stage that most people skip. And if you skip this stage, you can spend a whole lot of time, swimming against the current and not get anywhere. Okay, the second stage is awareness. And
I don't think we're on this. Is there a stage slide? We're still on buyer's journey.
This is the second stage. And if you remember, we had awareness in the buyer's journey. We also have awareness in this. And that's where you present a powerful profile that's going to not only attract the right people, it's going to repel the wrong people, because you don't want to waste time with them. So that comes back to your niche. And then your content marketing goes in this piece, because there are two strategies for LinkedIn. I try and break them down well, there are a lot of them, but into push and pull. Content marketing does both, because you're going to have some of your content on your profile, particularly multimedia, to help you stand out. But you're also going to have content marketing that's going out, at least once a week, and drives people to your profile. Okay, so this stage actually contains both. And then you can use automation with LinkedIn, but you have to know the tricks. Okay, says this woman who can't get the PowerPoint to work. So the third stage is relationship building. And this is kind of the key stage on LinkedIn. You have to have your strategy and you have to have your awareness in place beforehand. But relationship building is so important. When you're on a platform, excuse me, I'm going to take a sip here. When you're on a social media platform, particularly LinkedIn, and you invite someone to connect, you don't want to come back when they connect and hit them with a sales pitch. That's way too soon. This is a slower, it's great if you're selling vacuum cleaners or insurance or something like that. It's great. But for people who are coaches, consultants, and professional service providers, you want those people to know, like, and trust you, because big ticket packages require trust. So the 3 things in here that you have to do are prospecting. And one of the great things, one of the powerful things about LinkedIn is that the prospecting is so good. You can drill down so much further than you can on other platforms, so that you can absolutely identify your ideal clients. And many of my clients choose to use Sales Navigator, and you can always get that for a month free. And you can or you can do it on LinkedIn if you don't want to pay for Sales Navigator. It's just a slightly different process. You can also, the next stage that you really have to be good at is connection. And that's what I was just talking about. You do not want to hit them with the sales pitch when you're asking them to connect, but you also don't want to be deceptive. Okay, so when you are connecting with people, you want to do it. First of all, you have to personalize it. Do not ever, please don't ever hit the generic, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn network. because that's what everyone else uses. And you're not going to stand out from them. You're going to be hanging around in the inbox with all those other people who said, I'd like you to invite you to my LinkedIn connection. Or to my LinkedIn network. And that's way, way, way too vague. You can go to their profile, and just remember that always connect from their profile, because that allows you to add a 300 character note, including white spaces. So it's a very short note, but you're going to come across differently. This isn't a generic message that you're sending out. You're going to go to their profile. You're going to look at and find something about them that you can relate to. I often invite people from Ohio and Florida because those are the two places I've lived the longest, and I can always talk about something. There's always going to be something personal. Right now, it would probably be the Super Bowl. And then finally, there's that nurturing sequence. And nurturing is done by content marketing, by sending them more value, by, instead of giving them that sales pitch right off the bat, asking them open-ended questions, or, watching to see in the news feed when they come up and making comments on what they've said. All of these are nurturing. Everybody wants to be spotlighted. Everybody wants to have comments and shares, right? You always want to expand your network, and that's one of the ways to do it. So you're going to have a sequence of messages that are, you're going to do two things. You're going to have a sequence of messages that you can tweak and change, but that build value. And then secondly, you're going to continue by asking questions and getting them involved. So you need at least 5 messages, including your connection, before you want to ask them to move offline. And many people say it's now up to 8 to 13. Comes out of advertising, and that's what they say. So then in the final stage is where you invite them to talk offline. That's whatever your next step is. Do you offer a free consultation? Do you have a freebie that you give away? Do you want them to subscribe to your newsletter? What's the next step in getting them there? And sometimes it comes much earlier, but this is what I'm saying are the 4 stages that basically apply to everyone. In this final stage, you are going to look back to the strategy that you had and look at what your goals were, and use statistics that LinkedIn gives you to analyze what's working and what isn't. Who are the people that are really responding to you? What is it that you're doing? What are the trigger points that seem to be, making them respond to you? Because that's going to tell you where you are in the process. And what works and what doesn't. And then finally, and this actually could come before analysis, it comes anywhere in this last stage, is exquisite client support, or customer support, whatever you want to call it, because that's what keeps people there. That's what makes return clients and customers. And that's what builds the ability to turn them into not only continuing clients and customers, but into raving fans who are going to go out and tell everybody about you. Okay, so those are basically the 4 stages: strategy, awareness, relationship building, and sales. And this sounds very, very intricate. LinkedIn overwhelms a lot of people, but okay, I'll share this. I'm a PhD who has ADD, okay? If you've heard of absent-minded professors, that's me. So if I can figure out LinkedIn, anyone can figure out LinkedIn. You just have to take it step by step, okay? And that makes a huge difference. When you break it down into manageable steps, when you just take it bit by bit, you will find that it becomes far less confusing. I mean, when I first started with LinkedIn, I was totally overwhelmed and I didn't have the right strategy. I came out of higher education. Marketing was a dirty word. You know, it was an absolutely dirty word. So what you want to do is do marketing and do it with a strategy, because my first business I had to shut down. I didn't have the right strategy. I knew I had to be on LinkedIn. I was spending a ton of time doing content marketing, but I didn't have a strategy as to what I wanted to do with it. Okay, so when you look at this model, it seems like it would take a lot of time every day, like it would just be a huge time commitment. It doesn't have to be. You know, I have my commitment to LinkedIn down to less than 20 minutes a day, and I'm able to do it. My clients always have less than 30 minutes a day. So, you know, depending on how much you can do, that's going to make a difference. And that's how you set up a playbook. You know, we think about playbooks in football, right? You know, you have a playbook and it tells you what the plays are going to be. You know, you want to establish a playbook, you know, a desktop file where you can keep your metrics, you know, a chart to just track those statistics. You're going to want any messaging templates that you have, so you can just cut and paste them, put them in, and then personalize them for that person. Okay, that makes a huge difference. Your invitation templates, that makes a big difference. And then after that, you get into message sequencing and all of those things that you want in there. So you really can get it down to a few minutes a day, you know, or if you're the kind who's on there all week, you know, that kind of thing. So that's basically, I know I went fast, but I wanted you all to get the entire picture. You know, so if anyone has questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Or if there's a direction you'd like me to go in.
Dumont, how
Yeah.
do you share a post? How do you make a post and share it?
Okay, hold on. Let me see. To LinkedIn, you're always going to see your home screen, right? And at the very top is where you can start a post. So I'm going to put this is a demonstration so that people don't get. Okay. And then you can go down here and you can select where you want it to post. So right now it's posting to anyone. Here you could go just to events, just to your connections. So you have choices there. So you can, at the very beginning, share where you want to do it then. But you can also, once it's posted, you can come back and share it again. And so let's see if this will happen fast enough. Okay. Okay. Connections only. Okay, so this would right here, you know, post. Now you can also, with your post, add a video. You can add a note, a document, and you can even create a poll. I think you can do that on Facebook too, is what I've been told. So you know, you can do all of these things. What you want to be sure that you do is that you go back in within an hour and make a comment, and then start it going. And LinkedIn rewards engagement. They have a dwell algorithm, which means that they stay on. They measure how long people are staying on your post, and if they're not staying very long, that tells them they're not engaging. So you want to go back in and target people, tag people, just like you do on Facebook, so that they'll start responding, and do it that way, because they really want to see that engagement. Now, it used to be that we encouraged people to write an article every time, you know, a long, kind of deep, article that really hits, you know, some kind of major point. But I don't advise people to do that anymore. And I don't know too many LinkedIn experts that would advise you that right now. It's good to have those because you can refer people to them, but people don't. There are over 700 million people here. And so they're not going to spend a lot of time looking through their news feed. And so you want to make sure that you do things like video, like presentations, PowerPoints, any kind of demonstration, or attaching something that people can use, or doing a poll where people can interact really well. And those are the kinds of posts that you want. And then, then you get other people by mentioning them in the comments to come in and make more comments with you. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. What else can I tell you about LinkedIn right now that's new? I thought I heard another question.
Hey, Terry, I have one.
Okay.
Is there a way to go in there and like find your target audience? Are there filters that you can? Okay.
So let's go up here and just say I'm looking for, because I am a career coach, I know I can find career coaches in here. And so what you do, hold on, let me go back for a second and let me show you this. What you're going to do is set up a search. So I can say I want career coaches. And I'm going to look at that. Now, once I enter that, I can go across all of these different things for my career coaches. If I just want people, which is usually what I want, I'm going to be able to identify that way. But if I want to use all filters, if I really want them to, and you're going to see this coming out at the side, I can use people, I can use connections of someone. This is really powerful. If you know someone else in your space, someone who plays in the same sandbox with you, look at their connections. This is a powerful one to use. There's also your target company, locations, past companies, schools, so this is how you do it. You can drill down through all of these and find them. So if I only wanted to look at locations, I can add, say, United States and Canada. Let's just show those two. And you're going to see at the top, when you do it for yourself, it's going to tell you how many. I don't know if you can read this up here. This one says 89,000 results. Well, that's a little tough to work with, so you keep going through the filters, and narrowing it down. So let's say, I'm not going to narrow it down by a company.
Is that something available to everyone for free, or is that part?
That's for free. Okay.
Sales
Navigator has more filters. Okay, and it really makes it faster and easier. The advantage of Sales Navigator is that you can tag everyone, you can put them on lists. So for instance, I have lists that are for who I invited to connect, whether we've seen a welcome, whether we've sent them a welcome message, whether we've invited them to a challenge, whether we've invited them to an accelerator program. So we have all that, and it tells us exactly where they are in our sales funnel. Okay, you can do anything you can do in Sales Navigator, you can at least partially do in the free LinkedIn, using the filters.
Yeah.
But you can't keep the lists and all of that. You can't keep the lists and all of that in LinkedIn, the regular LinkedIn. You have to, if you want, you have to, cut and paste them into a spreadsheet if you want to do that. So it just slows you down. If you're in Sales Navigator, you can probably do, without getting in trouble, you can probably do 30 to 40 connections a day if that's how many invitations you want to send out.
Okay.
In LinkedIn, you can't. They'll cut you off pretty quickly if you start doing that. So it's just, it's just a matter of how much and how fast, and how accurate, because Sales Navigator does have 12 more filters that you can use.
Okay. Yeah, I talked to a guy, a financial advisor, and he was filtering on like if they started a new job to target them to talk about their 401ks and I thought that was,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So kind of reverse engineering this, if someone wants to, if I want to show up when somebody searches like this, is it keywords in my profile or keywords in my post or both
It's
that
going
would
to
put
be
me on
both.
a search like this?
It's going to be both. In your profile, you want to sprinkle keywords. You want them definitely in your title. You know, people call themselves like chief inspirators or, you know, or consultant to the gods or something. Well, that's not, people don't go into LinkedIn looking for a consultant to the gods. You want to be clever, but you don't want to be so clever they can't find you. Okay. And you want to sprinkle it all through your profile, not just at the top.
Good point.
And
What did anybody have any feedback or takeaways they want to share?
I need to get on Instagram better and share and be more vulnerable about what I do and not just my products and services. So that was my big hoorah there.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
that's key.
I'm scared to be on video with it, but I do this all the time. So I guess it's the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, you'd rock it.
Christina, you're such a likable person with such a great personality. Like you should be the person who's least worried about being on video.
Thanks.
Great. You'll do great. Anybody else?
Just be
Hey,
genuine.
I'm sorry, Kristen? Was that
Yes.
Kristen that was just talking? I
No,
was going to tell her
Christina.
something that I used to do to practice. I would record myself doing the said video and then just watch it before you post it. Like, and you'll realize you think that when you're recording, you sound completely silly and like you make zero sense. But when you listen back to your recordings, you'll surprise yourself quite a bit that it's not as bad.
As you think.
No, not at all.
I don't think.
And remember that
themselves on video.
people are going on and making, videos all the time right now. They don't want something slick and prepared.
Right.
So it really helps. And, I remember when I first started live streaming, and it kind of punished me here because I don't handle Zoom as well. But when I first started live streaming, I went through 80 self videos before I felt comfortable with it, so, and trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, and Zoom is a lot simpler from what I've been told, although I find it somewhat baffling.
And I'll say, Dumont, too, I was really fearful about going on video, and I just started going actually live. Probably within the last 3 months, people assumed that my weekly videos were live, and I'm like, I'm just not there yet. It took a while.
Yeah. And people do respond to live. They really do.
It's the beauty and the flaws, I guess. But I went live in my Color Street nail group, and then I lost the nails. I set them down somewhere, and I spent 5 minutes like, oh my God, what did I do with these?
You were sitting on them, weren't you? That would be
something
something
I
I
would
would do.
Yeah.
I put it was for Valentine's Day. I had made this big Valentine's Day sign, and I set them behind the sign and then set the sign in front of it. And then I'm like, I'm afraid about my nails. And then I'm like, I can't find them. And I had my daughter looking for them, and I felt like a bomb.
Oh, things can go wrong. But I was listening to someone the other night from Australia, and he has this huge following, all over the world. And he started off by saying, we have made every mistake you would ever think of. He said, we now have a backup computer, we have a backup server. He said, we have a backup, company coming from a different place because something will go wrong. You just have to kind of laugh and go on with it.
Yeah, I read
My daughter, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I read a quote once that said, it's better to stumble and fail and win than it is to hold yourself back by always shooting for perfection. So just stumble through it and you're going to come out on top and learn from it. So just be genuine and go for it.
And being not perfect really helps people relate to you.
Right.
During my session, my daughter came in here and took a highlighter that I don't think she's coloring on the wall, but maybe she is. I I can kind of see her leg like sitting at the table that I set up for her. So I think we're safe right now, but.
I had a chair break on me one time. It was like you were looking at me and then you heard this crack and boom.
Poof, I'm gone.
That's awesome.
Well, I think they could hear that something had happened. But
That happened on one of my Zooms. The lady was sitting on a exercise ball and it popped. And so it gave us all a fright. And then we were like, are you okay?
I could not have gotten through that without thinking about the Office episode where Dwight gets the yoga ball popped and he lands on the floor.
I didn't see that one.
All right. Any other feedback or takeaways?
I would like to hear from the LinkedIn people because I was having a hard time tossing up between Instagram and LinkedIn. So what we
Well, that's the one I recorded. That's the one I went to. So you're in luck there. I will send that out.
I just
You
want to
can
say,
see all my errors.
I have a question.
David?
I just want to say that I think that everybody sees all the flashy and professional level stuff, the content that's out there on all social media, and we think that, you know, oh, I have to aspire to get to that level of professionalism or whatever. But it's different to just get people to watch or find your thing entertaining or to capture your attention versus content that's going to get them to know, like, and trust you, to where for us as business owners, we don't want just engagement, we want relationship and sales or whatever. And I think that the genuineness of just the real content of us being ourselves is really what makes the difference. And so while obviously we want it to look as good as possible, the flashy stuff doesn't necessarily turn into, you know, business engagement. So.
Yeah, and keep in mind that a lot of that is manipulated. I mean, I know there's ways to manipulate content and posts on almost every social platform out there. So people are paying their way to the top. So don't compare yourself to those guys unless you're ready to pay for your way to the top too. So just like I said, be genuine. I know a guy in Columbus, and you can pay him to spread your LinkedIn stuff all over the place. And you know, it's great if you want to make that investment, but you know, I don't know that that's, I don't advocate that. You can build
piggyback on that. To piggyback on that.
Quantity is quality.
Right. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah.
To piggyback on that, I do YouTube, and the one thing that I would say is it's over if you bring value to them. Like if you look at my first videos to videos now, they look a lot better. But those videos that looked horrible, people still watch because I brought them value, even though I find them to be atrocious. So if you bring value to people, no matter what the quality is, they will gravitate towards it.
I'm with you, Derek. I don't rewatch a lot of my videos for the same reason. Those early ones were rough.
And I don't know if you've ever had this, the experience of going through an entire like 45-minute video and then looking at your phone that keeps buzzing and going, oh, they can't hear me. My speaker isn't on, you know. So I spent the rest of the day trying to reshoot this thing and recreate it.
You win the prize on that one, I think.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to learn. And what I do now is I have a place on Facebook, because I have a group on Facebook, but I have one group that isn't seen by anybody, and that's my test it out ahead of time place. You know, so we practice bringing other people in and doing that stuff there, so I can play with all the bells and whistles and get them right.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And you might wonder why I might have a Facebook group instead of a LinkedIn group. Well, LinkedIn groups are still really spammy. They used to be terrific, and then they took out all these controls and they just got turned into pure spam. And I want people to be able to talk with me and to be able to see me and interact, and it just isn't the same.
Dumont, I've had my latest Facebook group that helps women entrepreneurs like leave their 9-to-5s, you know, with a combination of like personal branding, confidence, and all that. I've had it for 2 weeks. There's about 200 members in it already. and I've already gotten a really decent size of business. I do believe in the power of Facebook groups a lot. I think
Mhm.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, they're much better. Erin, you've got, how has it been with this group? How has it been growing quickly? And
Yeah, I'm just over 4 months in and we're over 1,200 members. So it's good.
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
My group, my Facebook group is very small because I just got on Facebook. Like I said, I know enough to be dangerous. But
If
how
you
would
drop
you?
links, oh,
I'm sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say, if you start dropping links in relevant groups to your ideal clients, joining other Facebook groups that are bigger and answering questions and being a resource, not a sales pitch, I always say, that's how I know I've grown mine. I said I'm going to hire Erin to grow mine next because she's done a phenomenal job.
I've done the same
growing
thing.
hers.
Yeah.
And
Riding the
we
wave of it.
finally got a virtual assistant. So
Yeah.
that makes such a difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much to our panelists for your time today and for all of you for attending. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to email me any feedback if you have suggestions on how to structure things like this differently or other things you'd like to see. I'm Erin at outstandingohio.com. Upcoming events, mark your calendars next Tuesday at noon. We have our monthly networking event, so business networking through the Outstanding Ohio group. And the link for that is in the group. And I can also send it out. And then on the 25th, we're going to have an in-person event at Kristen's Co-Lounge in Fairlawn. We are going to be doing a wine tasting. So this will be more of a social event. Just get out and do something fun. You will be socially distanced, going to be limited, I think, to like 15 people. But we're going to have wines from Scout and Cellar Wine, which is clean crafted wine, and some appetizers and stuff. So register for that to reserve your spot. And then we are also planning an in-person networking event next month on the 19th at the Co-Lounge as well. So if you're feeling you want to get out and meet some people in person, we're going to do that on March 19th at 9 a.m. I haven't made the Facebook event for that one yet, but heads up.
Great.
And
Is there going to be non-alcoholic wine? I just have to ask for a friend.
I can bring you some sparkling juice. Actually, I think she does have some kind of
I was gonna say, I always provide sparkling. I'm a sparkling water fan.
Yeah, me too.
Usually take that over wine. I've gotten to that age where wine and I don't always go together. So there's always sparkling water. Always.
Awesome.